We're going to play two sound bites here of your discussions with him. And this is where it took just a particularly dark turn for poor you, because you're a mom and you had two young kids who were, I think, 9 and 10. I mean, it was a period of years, so they were aging, but they were around there. And Jared knew that, and he started to turn the discussion to your own children, which is something very different than the abstract idea, which is awful enough. So we've got a bit of that from the piece. We'll play SOT 4 first, and this is a viewer warning. This is disturbing and not appropriate for children.
Will you do anything I tell you to do?
Yes, I will.
You promise?
Yes.
Will you let me see your kids naked?
Oh my God, Rochelle, that is stomach turning.
It really is.
How did you maintain your composure?
Well, for all those years prior, he really did not bring my children into conversation at all. So now his sights were set on my kids.
How did you manage through that?
Actually, when that initially happened and he started to zone in on my kids and ask questions, that's when I spoke with my lead agent, Billings, Special Agent Billings, and I was going to quit and just walk away. And through conversations, they did not have anybody else to get in. They had tried for quite a while through me to try to introduce an agent to take my place ultimately, but he would never bite. He was just very stuck on wanting to talk with me.
You were it for the FBI, for everyone. Here's a second soundbite, same vein and same warnings.
I want you to describe the kids for me.
My kids. Oh, gosh. Blue eyes, blonde hair.
That's a girl or a guy. So which your kids do you think I like better seeing naked, your son or your daughter?
I don't know. You seem to like both girls and boys.
Which one would you think I would like better?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Oh my God.
That was
The
very
FBI,
difficult for me to hear.
Of course. My God, your strength is superhuman. The FBI, they just weren't doing it. And you ultimately did something extraordinary. Again, another extraordinary act. You went to, was it the local DA to try to get somebody to do something?
I went to local law enforcement, Sarasota Police Department. I had my own talk shows, TV, radio, great following. Did it not only locally, but nationally as well on a number of different venues. And I was going to, and played it out in my mind many times, because I felt that there was so much information that I had already shared. I know what he's doing. They know what he's doing. And every minute makes a difference. That's a potential child being violated, being stopped, being harmed. And that is something that I wasn't going to stand down any longer. So I went to the Sarasota Police Department and essentially turned in the FBI. And of course, you can only imagine the looks that I got, and they were questioning, what did you just say? What are you doing? And you're reporting why? And I said, because, I felt as though that they were putting the public at risk for not moving quicker in the case. But I am not, it was great teamwork, and I applaud and commend all of the law enforcement worldwide that really participated in this, Interpol, and because there were so many different countries that were involved. But they wouldn't allow me to leave. I went on my lunch break, and I was there for many hours, and they had tied in, there was probably about 30 or 40 law enforcement, and then all of a sudden the FBI, a bunch of agents walk in the door, and I felt as though I was almost being, quashed not to say anything through intimidation. But I stood my ground, and it took them quite a while before they convinced me not to go public. They did say that I would be impeding an ongoing investigation, and there would be repercussions legally against me. And I still I didn't care. And they saw that. And it finally took one of the detectives from Sarasota Police Department that pulled me aside. And only by what he shared with me did I agree not to go public, because having my own airtime, I wanted to lock the door and then broadcast what I had been doing, what I had discovered, and just warn the public myself.
It's the last resort.
But right. And he told me, this detective, he said that what they discovered, because they couldn't tell me all of the details, and I understand that, but he said to me, what they discovered was that Jared was but a pea in a pod, regardless of how big he was, so well known that he was leading them to even larger individuals, political figures, celebrities, and that a case like this typically takes at least 10 years, if not longer, to get the concrete information. And so it will happen. He will be taken down, but it's going to take that time and process. But in the meanwhile, when that does happen, he told me that I would see these others fall from grace, really, and be exposed for what was really going on. And that leads me to believe Jared pled guilty. I was so grateful that the children and even myself didn't have to go to trial and put anybody else at risk of having to go through that whole ordeal, because that's traumatizing again to these children. So I just wonder, I don't know whatever has been redacted from the reports, what he did to steer them in this direction, or if it was only through their own investigative resources of how they found out. But, now we see Epstein, he had fallen shortly thereafter, really, in the grand scheme of things. It was only a few years, but, and I can't see why he would not have at some point engaged with Epstein, because he liked going to Boca Raton. He liked going to Palm Beach and spending time there. And, Palm Beach is where Epstein lived. And that's where his playground was for the most part, aside from his island, of course. But so I think there's a lot more to it. And I think a lot more is going to come out.
Wow. I hadn't even considered the Epstein connection, because I was going to say there was no domino cascade of celebrities and public figures falling for this kind of thing after Jared. Epstein would be a big one. That if there were a connection there, that would be a very significant one. How long in advance of Jared's arrest did that conversation with you happen, where they said all that and urged you not to go on your show and tell?
About 3 or 4 years, maybe. Could have been longer.
Wow.
But I had been working with them, I think, for about 3 years, and that's when I went to Sarasota Police to turn them in, to hopefully, ramp up the operation.
Some people take CBD for better sleep or less stress or more calm. Some take it for pain relief, better energy, or better focus and concentration. Today, I want to tell you about CB Distillery and their over 2 million satisfied customers. According to a poll of their customers, 90% reported they do sleep better with CBD. 81% say CBD helps with stress, and 80% say CBD helps with aches and pains after physical activity. If you struggle to get a good night's sleep, if you're dealing with too much stress and you could use a little calm in your life, if you suffer with pain and discomfort, especially after physical exercise, you could give CBD a try from cbdistillery.com. Use my 20% discount by visiting cbdistillery.com and enter my initials MK for your discount. No prescription required. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code MK for 20% off. cbdistillery.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.